the differences how that British citizens and American evangelicals, British evangelicals and American evangelicals, or let's say UK evangelicals, sorry, what are the differences in how they go about church, in your opinion?
Well, again, I mean, I think we're, I mean, I laugh at this, but sometimes when people say, well, that we're worried about becoming too triumphalistic as Christians, I mean, in our context here, that's never going to be the case, really, because we are so small in terms of Bible believing Christians, and so I think there's a big size difference, but I do think in the ways that I think some of us are thinking and trying to talk about that influence of missiology and how we would do cross-cultural ministry here. You know, in some ways, you know, if you think the three big problems for any Christian are still the kind of money, sex, and power, then in some ways we don't have, we do have power issues, but in different ways. There's an economy of scale there, but maybe in the political influence that you have, which I think, again, I'm not someone who would say we need to give up on our political influence. I think the church is political and politics is religious. I mean, that's important, but not everything is political. I think that's key. So I think that's a big difference, that you still have influence in terms of the political sphere that at the moment Christians don't at all. But yeah, I think it's learning from each other and learning. I think the other thing I'd say is the importance of global Christianity. You know, I know it's a cliche again, but you know, the typical Christian in the world is a lady who's 19 in Africa or something. In that sense, that we need to be learning from the majority world Christians and increasingly asking them to help us with our blind spots and vice versa. This is a time, I think, for Christians across the world to be collaborating under the gospel. And we are so tribalized, we're so kind of monocultural. And again, I know that you've got a passion for kind of that global Christian vision, but this is a time when we need each other. We need to be looking at under God's word. We need to be looking at things from multiple perspectives. And that's how the body kind of helps itself to kind of make sure that we're not kind of dealing with blind spots. So the more that you can do cross-cultural communication in a podcast like this or in any kind of context is important, because as you know, someone from the outside can see something that you can't see. And I think that's the same for you looking at our culture as well. So we need to help each other. It's that iron sharpening iron. And I think that's one way forward in how are we constructive in that. But yeah, overall to your question, I'd say, and again, we need to be doing more of it here. That kind of that missiological mindset, the cross-cultural mindset, I think is more and more important in both contexts.